Welcome to Spotlight On, the must-listen podcast series where visionary leaders, global executives, trailblazing entrepreneurs, and top-tier experts come together to share their inspiring stories and tackle the hottest issues facing businesses today. Brought to you by the Barton Partnership, an award-winning global talent solution organisation, we specialise in executive search, independent consulting, and consulting solutions from strategy through to execution. Our mission? To help businesses accelerate their growth by connecting them with world-class strategy and transformation talent. Tune in and join us as we shine a spotlight on the game changers and thought leaders who are shaping the future of business. Today, I'm very pleased to say we've got Emilio Domingo here from Bain, who's a really good friend of mine in the business, talking about Bain's private equity report. But I'd love to talk about you to start with, because you've got a great history with Bain, obviously, that dates back to when you first started in 2002. You're currently Chief Commercial Officer for the European private equity practice. But tell me about your career at Bain. Tell me about the journey you've had there in the time that you've been there now.
Thanks, Nick. First of all, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here and very much looking forward to the conversation.
Good to see you.
I started at Bain 25 years ago. Looks like a long time now. And I joined Madrid first. From Madrid, I went to the Nordics, spent time in London, went to our offices in the US, and then came back to London. So I've been at Bain for 25 years, 6 offices, and working in a large number of our businesses.
Yeah, but private equity has been the main focus for you for quite a while.
Almost from the very beginning.
Right.
Even though private equity was at the heyday when I joined.
Right.
But since 2003, I decided that private equity was going to be my focus, and they say it's better to be lucky than good, and this has been an industry that it's had tremendous growth.
Yes.
And with that growth has come the opportunity. So what started as a couple of projects here there doing due diligence and value creation for funds, then it became a passion, and it's been very easy to be in this industry over the last few years, given all of the amount of change and exciting things happening.
Yeah, and it's arguably one of the leading private equity practices globally when it comes from a consulting perspective. Why do you think that is?
I think it has to do with our history and our heritage. We started this business over 35 years ago.
Yeah.
We have a very clear focus in supporting financial investors from the very beginning on their decisions. And at Bain, that was a mainstream part of what you could do.
Right.
And the private equity practice was the first practice in Europe and in the US that really felt like a practice.
Yeah.
Because the clients are global or regional by nature. A lot of our clients are global and regional. So collaboration across offices, collaboration across continents was very, very easy from the start.
Right.
So you truly felt like a member of a global practice, even though from the very beginning of your career at Bain.
And I've had the fortune of meeting a number of the founding members, as it were, over the last couple of years. Hugh, obviously, Hugh MacArthur, Severe in Asia, Graham in London. I met with Graham Rose in New York, obviously. You know, the legacy and the history of the individuals that are still within the business that were there at the start is quite impressive as well. Do you put that down to just the evolving nature of the industry as much as anything else? The fact that they've stayed with the business so long and they've continued to obviously be very well embedded in the private equity practice?
Yeah, we've been very fortunate of having great mentors and great professionals helping me with my career.
Yeah.
Hugh, Graham, Elton, Subir, I worked with all of them for many years.
Yeah.
When I joined the London private equity office, we had 3 partners.
Wow.
Graham was one of them.
Yeah.
Andrew, Timms, and I. Today we have over 35 in London and 120 partners in Europe.
Yeah.
And over 1,000 professionals in Europe fully focused on private equity. So the industry has given us a fantastic run and therefore opportunities to develop in very different areas and in very different parts of capabilities, practices. So we've been lucky enough to be able to choose within private equity, what do you want to do?
Right.
Do you want to do a sector vertical? Do you want to do a capability vertical? Do you want to focus more on value creation? Within value creation, in which aspects? So the industry is giving us the luxury of really being able to choose and craft your career in ways that I think have made it more exciting even than in any other place.
And it is one of the fastest evolving industries. I mean, we've certainly seen that over the last few years.
Absolutely.
The Bain PE report, which we want to talk about, the latest edition's come out now. When did that first become, or when was that first launched?
We've been studying the industry and analyzing the industry for a number of years, and sharing that with our clients on a regular basis. We decided to publish a report that took all of that data and generated insights for the broader industry in the early 2000s. So it's been
going for a while. I mean, it really is the benchmark for the industry. Now, in Hugh MacArthur's opening statement, he talks about the fact that private equity, in 2025, really started to move forward again and progress. Exit value surged, and there were quite a few megadeals that stole the market headlines. But he also noted some caution there that whilst the champagne bottles are out, we weren't going to pop the corks just yet. Why do you think that is? I mean, what do you sort of put that down to? Is still an air of cautiousness in terms of where the market is right now in that regard?
Yes, and if you look at the headline numbers, and that's why we called the recovery a K-shaped recovery.
Yes.
2025 is a fantastic year if you look at the headline numbers. Right?
Yeah.
So you have 900 billion of buyout new activity, 700 billion of exits. Those two numbers are the second best numbers in the last decade after 2021.
Right.
And actually in deal activity is just a little bit shy of 2021.
Yeah.
And if you compare that to where we were in 2023, it's double where we were in 2023.
Yeah.
So when you look at the headline numbers, the industry has really in 2025 stepped up since 23 and 24. When you decompose that growth both in new activity in buyouts, in exits, and then we can talk about fundraising and in any other metrics, you start to see different and more cautionary tales. So 80% of the growth from 24 to 25 is due to 13 megadeals of more than 10 billion.
Right.
When you look at the count in terms of buyouts, that number's down. Mm-hmm. So there's 6% less buyouts in 2025 than in 2024. When you look at the exit, the same rationale applies. A large number of the growth is around large exits. If you've been part of those large exits, great. If not, and if you are still sitting in a large number of assets, then that's not so great. When you look at fundraising, the fundraising is significantly muted. And in particular, fundraising for buyouts is taking a hit. Again.
But there's always been a constant sort of reference in the market. There's still a lot of dry powder out there, and the consensus has been more about value creation than deals being done. Do you see that shifting at all over the next 12 months as part of this? Is that being factored in?
For many years already, I think that the value creation and focusing on value creation, it's been the way that separates the winners and the laggards, right? And even if 2025 was a fantastic year in terms of exits and buyouts, we still have 15% of NAV as distributions. So the industry still has a huge backlog. 32,000 companies unsold, 3.8 trillion of companies in the portfolios, and an average hold of over 7 years.
Right.
The industry needs to provide liquidity and to continue to exit at a more accelerated pace that has been in the past. Yeah.
Now, here in the report references 12 being the new 5. You say companies now need around 12% EBIT growth to hit target and returns. How many portfolio companies in Europe are actually achieving that? And what do you think separates out the ones that are succeeding from the ones that aren't?
So We say 12 is the new 5. What does that really mean?
Yeah.
So what we mean is that if you look at the last decade and you took an average deal 10 years ago, you apply the cost of credit at that point in time and the leverage, and you grew the EBITDA of that business at 5% CAGR, when you overlay the help by multiple expansion over the last few years, you could hit target returns with a 5% CAGR. Nobody, when they were doing those deals, had a 5% CAGR because funds were not expecting multiple arbitrage and increase, but you could hit 2x money with a 5% CAGR in a number of areas. When you fast forward today, and you think about the cost of credit today, when you think about the cost of financing, the leverage available, and you factor that there will be not significant multiple arbitrage, that 5 translates into 12.
Right.
So you need to run 2.5 times harder. In terms of the value of EBITDA in order to generate the same returns. We don't have a statistic to your point in terms of how many European portfolio companies are hitting 12% CAGR growth. But clearly, with the numbers that I was mentioning before, with those 32,000 companies on the portfolios and with the 3.8 trillion of unrealized value and 7-year holds, not the average buyout is hitting those numbers. Otherwise, the statistics I just quoted would look very different.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Continuation vehicles. Again, in the report, continuation vehicles are growing fast, but many LPs seem to be skeptical. What happens to the companies sitting inside those vehicles? And does longer ownership change the kind of leadership those businesses need? What are your views on that?
Great question. So continuation vehicles are up, as we mentioned in the report, by 60-odd%. They still only provide around 10% of the liquidity. So while we clearly mentioned that it's an increase, it's still only a valve versus a complete solution. What happens by definition in a continuation vehicle is that asset becomes a longer hold. And therefore, it has important implications for talent. It has important implications for what type of management team you need in that company, and what is the next stage of that value creation. So LPs are considering and are happy with GPs going into continuation vehicles when that continuation vehicle fulfills one of two objectives. One is provide an additional liquidity to that LP and change part of the base. Second is when there's fuel in the tank for the next chapter of value creation. So there are many assets, and we've seen a number of those in which that continuation vehicle mechanism provides the instrument for that company to continue on their value creation potential. The management team and the talents needed to do that obviously need to be very focused on delivering on that second act.
Right. And that's become an important factor, I guess, in that regard as well.
Absolutely.
To what extent do you, as a consultant at Bain, get involved in the assessment and the coaching of leadership talent now when it comes in private equity? Because obviously that's become an important factor in success, and that's evolved.
No, great question. We do not.
Right.
So we are not involved in assessing talent. Obviously, that's not part of what we do. We obviously working with our clients. We do coach. CEOs, management teams, C-suites in terms of how is it to work with private equity? What are the key areas that is going to change when CEOs come from large corporates to private equity? A number of cases I've had the pleasure of working with management teams that come from a carve-out and need to adapt to what is working with private equity. So in many instances, obviously, we are working with management teams in terms of helping them work with new shareholders, but we are not part of an assessment.
No. Fair enough. Due diligence. There's a lot of talk about full potential due diligence before deals are actually done. In reality, though, how many European private equity firms are actually doing that up front now? What are you seeing as a trend?
So we've seen, and as we were discussing, in 25 years, you've seen a lot of evolution. I've seen a lot of change.
Yeah.
Full potential diligence is something that we coin in the report as something that it's a diligence that puts together commercial diligence, product diligence, technology, AI, ESG, sustainability, and takes a holistic view of the target and the asset, and also, most importantly, builds the value creation journey already in diligence.
Yeah.
So one of the key points on what we see the best clients and the best firms doing and separating those winners in the market is thinking about value creation already during diligence. So what are the levers of value creation that are going to give you, as a sponsor, the ability to create more value within that asset?
Yeah.
So is everyone doing full potential and full potential diligence? No, not everybody, but we see more and more firms stepping up significantly their efforts in diligence, because the market is very competitive out there for our clients. Right?
Yeah. Now, I mean, this leads brilliantly on to the next topic, which is the operating team. And clearly that's an area of expertise for the Barton partnership, and you and I have worked closely together on that before. But operating teams inside funds seems to be becoming a real competitive advantage. From your perspective, how are the best European funds structuring these teams today? What are you seeing?
So this has been an area, and you have a lot of expertise on this, where we have seen also tremendous evolution.
Absolutely.
If you go back 15 years, only a handful of firms in Europe will have operating teams, and those operating teams will be tiny.
Yes.
What we do see today is operating teams that are really working together with their deal partners. So that partnership between deal team and operating team from the very beginning, even in diligence, and that collaboration between those teams in order to underwrite from the start and go to an investment committee together.
Yes.
As a partners.
That's changed, obviously.
That's changed significantly.
Absolutely.
Over the last few years, and it will continue to change. Right?
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the areas where we've seen a lot of evolution.
And that's led to greater success, right? Because of the alignment of the two. Rather than a deal team going to an operating team after the deal's done saying, right, it's all yours. The success of that alignment now can be seen in many firms.
Yes, and listen, when I spoke with many of our clients, and I'm sure happens to you the same.
Yes.
That partnership between deal teams and operating teams, and having been on the trenches together and having been able to deliver value creation in the past, gives a lot of conviction in the next investment committee and in the next bid, in terms of trusting that underwritable value creation is there.
Yeah.
Because you've done it before together. You know what are the levers, and it's a repeatable model that many of these winning firms are creating.
I agree. And then also, just as on a side to that, and you and I again have talked about this, the emergence and the importance of the chief transformation officer from that as well. Because that again is a relatively new trend in terms of the importance of that role. What are you seeing in that regard, that how that's evolved over the last couple of years?
Now, great question. So we have seen a significant increase in the number of chief transformation officers in portfolio companies.
Yeah.
And you and I have spoken about this before.
Yes.
One of the best practices that we are seeing as well is funds are starting to think about that chief transformation officer from day zero.
Yeah.
So already in the last stages of diligence, and many times between signing and closing, thinking about, do we need a chief transformation in this particular portfolio company, and creating that bench for many of our clients of a repeatable model with chief transformation officers, and having a bench of professionals that are closely linked to a particular private equity fund and that have done that before and that know how to do it and that have developed those relationships within the funds is something that we are seeing increasingly more important.
And the relationship with the CEO as well, as we've talked about. That's a whole different conversation. We have to talk about AI.
Yes.
Obviously.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, I mean, everyone in private equity is talking about AI. Where are you actually seeing it deliver results? I mean, where is it, and where is it mostly hype still in your experience?
So I think, first of all, we are doing a tremendous amount of work and projects focused on different aspects of AI.
Right.
If you think about a private equity fund and you separate from sourcing to diligence to value creation, we are seeing use cases, AI use cases in all of those areas.
Right.
In the last private equity survey, in the GP survey that we just did for the last private equity report, we've asked GPs, where are you deploying AI within sourcing, within diligence, and within portfolio companies? And first of all, within the GP, a lot of GPs are experimenting in sourcing and in diligence. And I think all of the GPs with whom I have the pleasure to work on a daily basis, they are all embedding and incorporating different tools and different use cases for their deal teams.
Yeah.
From sourcing to diligence to increase productivity at the end of the day of deal teams.
Yeah.
Same in back office, same in operations.
Right.
I would say that we are seeing many clients experimenting.
Yeah.
We are seeing clients even creating an IC team member that is an AI team member.
Interesting.
We are seeing clients that have uploaded all of their investment committee memos and have now a repository of all of their materials, and therefore when a new investment comes, like what are the similarities, what things can we learn? So there's a lot of innovation within the industry in terms of generating alpha at the end of the day with AI use cases. Where we are seeing real money being put in the bank is in portfolio companies.
Yeah.
There are a number of use cases that are held by LLMs and AIs that are already incorporating into portfolio companies and are already generating results, from sales enablement to CRM management to contact centers.
Operational level,
portfolio company efficiencies. Many use cases that we are working with our clients in terms of developing those use cases and generating efficiencies from those.
Is it becoming a specific topic within a VCP? So a standard VCP will look at all areas of cost cutting, growth, margin expansion strategy. Is AI now a definitive topic within a VCP that, we look at all of those levers, and is AI now another lever that has to be addressed specifically as a separate topic, or is it still embedded in the other topics as a natural product?
It's a great question, and as always, the question depends by the specific portfolio company, the specific sector, and what is the impact of the technology in that particular company. If you think about software companies, there is a significant impact in their TAM and their SAM and how they think about the revenue and the revenue composition, which is potential a revenue expansion and accessing a new TAM. There's also a significant efficiency component if you think about software development or if you think about many of the technical capabilities that today could be augmented and could be significantly increased and made more efficient. So when we think about a value creation plan. It's AI a topics isolated from the other levers? Absolutely not. It is embedded in many of the other levers. And if you take a look, and it's a holistic view of the value creation plan, you will have impact of LLMs, impact of AI, impact of automation.
Yes.
From the market where you operate, the comparative position of your company, how do you adapt to that technology shift and evolution, all the way to how do you use it in a more efficient manner internally.
Brilliant. Advice for executives joining PE-backed companies then. So let's move on to that. If a senior executive is considering their first role within a private equity-backed business, what should they look for and what should they be cautious about?
Great question. Let me go back to the fundamentals of where the industry is at today. I do have those conversations many times because many of my colleagues call me and say, "Listen, my client ex-CEO of FTSE company or ex-CEO of S&P company or Nasdaq company is thinking about joining a private equity role. Can you talk to her or him about it?" The first thing is to go back to the fundamentals and where the industry is at.
Yeah.
The industry today is at that inflection point in which there's still a lot of dry powder. There's a significant number of companies that are unsold, and the average long hold timings are increasing. In that environment, how to think about a private equity role, it's a choice that I would say it's more important that if you would have made that choice 10 years ago, when a lot of the returns in the industry were quicker, where hold periods were lower, and where that hung in terms of number of companies wasn't there. So the first thing is to create that mentality that it is going to be a chapter of potentially 7 to 10 years.
Yes.
First of all, versus what many people have in mind, that is a 4 to 6 year hold.
Yeah.
An average today, again, within the industry is 7 years, which means many of the assets you're going to be longer, right? So I think that's the very first point. It's a very exciting and a very rewarding chapter, but it's a longer chapter than it would have been a number of years ago. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
The second thing is, as we discuss in the report, we are seeing a polarization in the industry in terms of winners and losers.
Yeah.
So as a executive, you want to choose who is the sponsor that you are going to align with. Because again, it's a long journey. And today, as we were discussing, there are sponsors that come to value creation with a very clear mentality, that have developed important capabilities, that have people, have systems, have technology, and have a track record of doing that. If I'm a new exec coming outside of the PE world and I'm taking a role in a portfolio company for private equity, thinking about that alignment, is that institution, is that a sponsor that I'm going to join has a proven track record and a system of delivering value creation at scale.
Yes.
And therefore, I'm going to be joining a party in which that journey is going to be significantly easier.
And I can learn from that as well, obviously. With the hold periods obviously being longer now than they used to be, obviously with the private equity industry, the image is high reward, high pressure. Mm-hmm. High pressure comes from shorter hold period. With a longer hold period, does that alleviate the pressure but the reward the same, or do you still see the same pressure for executives in private equity?
No, I don't think I've seen less pressure. I don't think I've seen less pressure over the last few years. If at all, I think that the pressure is increasing. The LPs the LPs are being really thoughtful about where they put their next check.
Yeah.
The industry has not been giving back money to their LPs as much as LPs wanted. And therefore, that pressure of generating results is only going into one direction.
Yeah. I believe. Final question then. Talking about clarity around strategy and LPs' expectations, you say LPs want a strategy that can be explained in one sentence and backed by data. If we applied that same test to firms advising private equity on talent and recruitment, how many would pass?
Great question. I don't know your industry, obviously, Nick, as well as you do, but I do think that you would want to see that strategy on a page.
Yeah.
What we call a strategy on a page. Very simple. What do you do best than anyone else? What differentiates you from your competitors?
Yeah.
Backed up by data. What is your track record in terms of creating results for your clients?
Yeah.
What is your track record in terms of specific areas where you are specialized and focused, and how can you bring specific data points and success stories to that?
Yeah.
So I've seen, for example, a document from you on chief transformation officers, and I have seen that you show the numbers of chief transformation officers that you have placed, who are your largest clients, verbatims from those CTROs. And we had the pleasure of having, together with one of our dear clients, a Chief Transformation Officer forum. So clearly, from that, I see that that's one of the key areas where you are specializing, where you are bringing value to your clients.
Yeah.
So how many of those, right?
Yes.
And in how many of those could you really deliver that value? I guess is the question, in terms of how many firms, if you are a pure generalist and you diversify too much, you're not going to be able to really drive into that.
It's really defining and articulating that USP, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this Bain report is out now, obviously. For our audience, it's on the Bain website.
It is on the website.
Now, interesting, I mean, as I mentioned, I had a coffee with one of its authors last week in New York, Graham Rose, who mentioned that the frequency of this report might change given the fast evolution of the market. Do you feel that could be the case?
Yeah, so for the last couple of years, we already have a summer period, so a mid-year private equity report.
Right.
Last year, I had the pleasure of sharing that at Super Return,
right,
in Berlin.
Right.
So this year we will publish, highly likely, also ahead of Super Return, and we'll have a mid-year
good
report ahead of the summer.
Okay. And final question. And I know the answer to this because you're an ever optimist. Are you positive about this year, despite all the factors out of our control that are going on in the world right now? Do you still remain optimistic for this year for the private equity community?
Listen, I think that the private equity industry has demonstrated an impressive ability to innovate, to grow, and resilience when it's been the case. Do I venture to say that 2026, with everything that is going to be a great year for the private equity industry? Frankly, my crystal ball is as cloudy as yours.
Yeah.
We started the year quite well in terms of activity. January and February were good months. There's a lot of momentum in the industry coming from the back end of 2025. So hopefully, barring any macro shocks and touching wood, we hopefully are continuing in a good trajectory.
Good. Well, listen, Emilio, as always, thank you for joining us today.
And thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us for this podcast. Please watch out for future podcasts. Spotlight on. My name's Nicholas Barton. Good to see you. Thank you.